Hello guys, and welcome back to another AOR F3 league race. I'm Fisi, and coming off the back of a pretty average performance by me in Canada, we are now in Austria for round 8 of the season, taking our seat in this green beast on a nice sunny day, surprisingly. Actually forecast dry weather for both qualifying and race sessions in this race weekend, which is unusual given this is the F3 league, where we've had quite a bit of rain going on in the last few races. But I'm happy to have a nice straightforward dry race for this one, as this circuit is certainly a pleasure to drive in the dry. I would say it's probably my second favourite circuit to drive actually on this game, after Monaco of course. I just think it generally has a really nice flow to it, some nice corners, and one of those tracks where you can actually drive with a wheel and feel reasonably fast. But as you can see, we are on in qualifying at the moment. I've already set a P1 lap with 1:08.4, but this is early on in the session, and I know I can do a lot better than that lap, and I know I will need to do a lot better than that lap if I am to beat the other frontrunners in the league here. Especially Pro Racing, who as always has been looking quick on this circuit as well. Only gained a few hundreds though in the first sector, but so far sector 2 has been going well, and now we're coming into this final section of the track, which I just absolutely love. These fast flowing corners where you just have to be really precise on the wheel and aggressive on the throttle to get through. And you can see we've gained 4/10 on our personal best lap at the moment. Now we just need to nail the final 2 corners, carrying as much speed as possible through the first apex and then into the final corner, down to 4th gear, but just keeping the speed going, keeping the momentum towards the line, flapping open the DRS, and then we have improved by almost 9/10 of a second to 1:07.5, which I felt was a really good lap, and one that I couldn't match myself on my subsequent runs in the session. So it was some nervy moments in the pit lane towards the end, watching Pro Racing and the rest of them try to beat my time, and you can see Pro Racing got so close, but in the end it was I who remained on top of the timesheet with the fastest lap to take pole position in an AOR league for the first time since the last race of season 5, when I was down in the F6 league. Jeez, that's a long time ago considering we're now in season 9. Never did I manage to get a pole time during my time in the top F1 league. But now, down in F3, we are finally back at the top of a qualifying result, with Pro Racing so close to snatching it away from me in the end though, only 0.04 of a second behind, with Big Z not too far further back either, and the top 8 all within 0.8 of a second. So it's been a good start for us here in Austria, where I am set to start a league race from the front of the pack for the first time in ages. Here we are then, the grid for the Austrian Grand Prix all lined up, and it's weird to see my name there up at the front of the pack at the start of the race. Pro Racing the closest challenger in 2nd, and my teammate Disco Stew down in 7th, so he could score some points for the team as well, hopefully. And crucial thing to point out, Pro Racing and Big C, the 2 cars starting behind me, are both starting on the prime tyres, whereas I'm starting on the faster option tyres, so it'll be absolutely crucial for me to stay ahead of the line here as the lights are out. And here we go. It's been a very good start. Obviously you expect the option tyres to get a better launch than the primes. I did think about defending the inside line just to make sure, but it turns out I don't have to, as I think a few cars went wide behind me, and Pro Racing was side by side with Moon there when I look back, and they still are side by side by the looks of it. If Moon could get himself ahead of Pro Racing, then that would be very helpful for me. And but at least we have managed to pull out a gap already and retain the lead off the start of the race. Looks like Pro Racing has managed to hold on from Moon though, so he's still in 2nd and the closest to challenging me, but obviously with him being on the primes and me being in the options, this stint will be very crucial for me to build a gap, because that means Pro Racing will be faster on later stints in the race when he will be on the options and I will be on the primes. So I just need to keep my focus all the way from the beginning here, make sure I don't drop back into the pack, and build a gap that can kind of give me a buffer for the later stints of the race. And after 2 sectors I'm already over a second ahead of Pro Racing, so that's a good start, and we've kind of dropped him out of our DRS zone. Obviously DRS won't be very active until at the start of lap 3, but it's good to have that gap already. So you got to say it's been a good start for us in this race, and now starting lap 2, making sure not to cut turn 1, slightly wide turn at the exit, but not too bad. Pro Racing actually gained very slightly in that final sector of the previous lap, but we still have over a second on him, so hopefully we can keep this this speed going and gain some time back. Yep, 1/10 faster in sector 1 there. And it kind of does like Pro Racing is holding up a little train, at least a couple of cars. Moon surely wanting to get himself ahead so he can push on the options as well. So this kind of gives me a little advantage, because I don't have to think about any other drivers around me at this point in the race. I just have to focus on myself, keep nailing the apexes, keep carrying good speed through these corners. And now into sector 3. Absolutely love this sector, like I mentioned in qualifying. It just flows so nicely and the car feels great to turn through here. And 1.6 seconds the gap to Pro Racing in the middle of this lap. Let's try to take these final couple of corners a little better than last time. Looks good there for the first part, and then the final corner looks even better. So a good second lap as well, and we should hopefully have extended our gap a little bit more. DRS is now enabled, but Pro Racing is 2 seconds behind. So we just got to keep pushing and try to extend this gap as much as possible before the first pit stop of this race. Fastest lap of the race as well, obviously, on lap 2 with a 1:09.4. And now skipping to the end of lap 4, and the gap has been extended even further, 3.4 seconds now. And coming out of the final corner, almost losing the back end on the curb. That would have been a bit of a disappointment if we'd lost the car there and dropped it into the wall. But we managed to keep it pointing straight to start lap 5. Gap 4.3 seconds. Moon actually up to second place. So Moon is definitely helping us out a bit by battling with Pro Racing. And now on lap 10, Big Z is actually in second and Moon in third. So Pro Racing, he's having some issues. I'd expect him to be close to those guys still, but he has been passed at least twice. And the gap to Big Z now in second, 7.7 seconds as I go in for my first pit stop of the race at the end of lap 10. Planning to change onto the prime tires. You can see the tires quite orange on the indicator there, the option tires, so a good time to pit. This is meant to be a 2-stop race usually, and I am planning to do 2 stints on the option tires and 1 on the prime, so this middle stint should be the slowest stint of the race and also the longest stint of the race. So this is kind of the stint where we just need to keep it together, try to control the gap, because when Big Z and Pro Racing go in to get rid of their primes in only a few laps probably, they will be on the faster option tires and be trying to close the gap as we actually rejoin the track out of the pit lane side by side with someone. It's stubborn Gymnast in the Marussia who has got himself just ahead coming into turn 2. Not really what I wanted coming out in traffic. Gymnast leaves me loads of space on the inside though, and with the fresher tires hopefully I can try to out-drag him now into turn 3. Got the DRS as well of course, which will help, and I've got the inside line, so hopefully I can get rid of a Gymnast at this point. As to make my strategy work, I just really need to keep pushing and not get hold up by slower traffic. A little bit loose there through turn 3. Gymnast is looking back on with the cutback, but I've got the inside line now for the long left-hander coming up, and Gymnast runs a little bit wide, so we have managed to get ourselves ahead of him into what is currently 6th place. So that is crucial to get some clear air so we can keep pushing on these fresh tires and not lose out to those guys who will be trying to chase us down later on. And now at the start of lap 13, Pro Racing has been in the pits and we're up to 3rd place, catching up to Kraggles, who has also yet to pit, presumably having started the race on prime tires as well. So this will be another case of just trying to keep calm. I know I have the tire advantage on Kraggles, as he will be right at the end of his stint, whereas I am 2 laps into mine. Getting very close to him through the hairpin here, and just gotta try to focus on getting a good exit. Kraggles obviously pulling away a little bit because he got on the power earlier, but now we got DRS and the fuel up to rich mix. Can we get close enough to challenge him into this corner? We can get up the inside. Kraggles braking slightly later though, but leaves us room, as we also have to leave him room on the outside, making sure not to understeer into him, and we've got the better exit here. And fuel back down to standard as the move has been completed for a 2nd place, which should turn into 1st place again once Big Z pits. And he is now in the pits, as you can see on the minimap, at the end of lap 13. So this is when I retake the lead of the race. So what will be crucial now is to see what the gap is to 2nd place after these pit stops have been completed. Because remember, Pro Racing and Big Z will now be on the option tires, the faster tires, on this stint. And you can see there Pro Racing with the fastest lap of the race with the 1:09 flat, 4/10 faster than my fastest lap for the first stint. And the gap to 2nd, which is still Moon crucially, is 7.9 seconds. Pro Racing though only 3/10 behind him, so Pro Racing will surely be looking to use his tires to his advantage and get himself past Moon, as he actually has done if you look in the top left there. Pro Racing up to 2nd, so this is when we're going to have to start monitoring that gap. And now on lap 21, let's see what the gap is going to be. Only 4 seconds. So he has closed about 4 seconds in the previous 6 laps. But after that, it kind of stabilized a little bit and he couldn't close me down as fast as he had done. I assume due to his option tire starting to wear quite badly. And you can see on the minimap now that Pro Racing at the end of lap 24 is actually in for a very early pit stop. So I've gone in at the end of lap 25 to respond to that, to minimize the undercut that he can be getting from pitting earlier. And this is a very crucial pit stop, because now for the final stint, me and Pro Racing will be on exactly the same tires, option tires for both of us. Mine being 1 lap fresher, but that's not going to make too much of a difference, I don't think. So it is a flat out race to the line now. You can see Pro Racing is coming down towards turn 1 as I'm making my way back onto the track as well. And there he is. You can see a tiny Williams back there in the rear view, and he has definitely closed up by pitting a lap earlier. But is he still outside the 1 second range to have DRS? That will be crucial. He's 1.2 seconds back, so that is good to see, but he's definitely close enough now to kind of get on my nerves a little bit. If I make one single mistake here now, that could be it really, as he will be right there to pounce if that happens. And he is surely pushing as well to try and get himself within the 1 second zone. So we just need to keep it together, keep doing what we have done so far in the race. But I just am not really sure about the exact pace difference of us two in the race, because this is the first part of the race where we've actually both been on the same tires at the same time. And oh no, he's actually closed up further in that middle sector, 7 tenths behind now, which means he should be having DRS now coming onto the main straight. I'll put fuel back up the ridge though to kind of try to push a bit more. You can see we got plus 1 lap of fuel, so we've been good on fuel saving this race, and we can use that now to try and defend and try to keep him at bay. But he is looking very fast at this stage of the race, and you got to keep in mind of course that he's been dominating races this season, if you look aside from the occasional crashes he's been having, and he has been the pace setter for pretty much every race so far, apart from possibly Canada when Bigsy was up there. And Pro Racing with another fastest lap, a 1:08 flat, which is over 1 second and 4 tenths faster than my best lap in the race. I still hadn't managed to beat my best lap from the first stint actually, but now at the end of lap 29 I have managed to beat my best time. It's a 1:08.5 at the moment, and Pro Racing is still behind, but still by a very small margin. The gap now when starting lap 30 is 1/10 of a second. I mean, it definitely looks slightly further back than that, but that is very close as we run slightly wide out of turn 1. And Pro Racing now is just really piling the pressure on. He's never been closer than this at any point in the race, obviously apart from right at the start when we were leaving the grid. But he is getting uncomfortably close here, and we have a DRS straight coming up. He's got the indications arrows, he's looking to the inside line, but I managed to get him on the traction zone and move my car over to the right hand side to get the inside line and defend, because he will now have DRS. I'm gonna have to go defensive into turn 3. Pro Racing looking to the outside, he's braked later, but I managed to get through on the apex to retain the position for now. Pro Racing looking to get a better exit, but it looks like he has not managed to get enough of a drag out of the corner, and I'm sticking it on the racing line through this one to make sure he can't get ahead. And it's nice to know that after running by myself for so long, I still know how to defend a position. But Pro Racing will surely not give up, and it's still 6 laps to go in this race, so we cannot slow down and take a nap just yet. Kind of nailing these last couple of corners though, and it looks like Pro Racing has had a bit of a problem. He might have run wide out of one of them, and he's definitely dropped back. Still within a second I think, but he's given me a bit of breathing space here. And 1 lap further on, he's actually 1.7 seconds behind, so he's starting to struggle after having shown such great pace at the start of this stint to catch me up and then challenge me. He now looks to be dropping off a bit. Let's see what the gap is now. It's 1.6. So yeah, he's probably just made a couple of small mistakes, and that has given me the opportunity to once again push to keep him out of the DRS range. And we have quite a bit of fuel left to burn as well, which is good. And now skip it on to the start of the final lap of the race. Fuel down to optimal now, but we're still running in rich mix, and Pro Racing still just about outside the DRS zone, 1.1 seconds back. So it all comes down to not making a mistake on the final lap here. If I can do what I've done for 35 laps straight now and keep my car on the black stuff, I should hopefully be able to get this win. Pro Racing so close to being within the DRS zone there, 1.003 seconds back, but we have enough of a gap to not be challenged. And if I can get this win, that would be my 2nd of the season, of course, in the 5 races I've done here, after having won Monaco as well, and it would be a great comeback after the disappointment of Canada, which didn't quite work out, and winning this would mean victory in my 2 favourite tracks on the game as well, which I very much would like. And we've extended the gap to Pro Racing by 2 tenths since the previous split, and there's not only 2 corners to go in what has been a very unusual race for me. Pole to flag in first position. I cannot remember the last time that happened to me in a league race. We're through the final corner and we start weaving because we won the Austrian Grand Prix. there you have it, the confirmation that we have won the Austrian Grand Prix just ahead of Pro Racing in second place, who pushed us all the way, but I managed to hang on to finish in P1, and a very good feeling to win this race, because I feel like I drove pretty much a perfect race. Obviously I didn't have to do much battling apart from that one defensive move when Pro Racing got really close, but I drove the whole race at a consistent high pace and didn't make any mistakes. Got that gap when I needed to in the first stint, and then kept it together at the end, so I can't fault myself for once in the league race, and credit to Pro Racing as well for pushing me very hard. Quite a gap though down to third place, where Kraggles seemingly held off his teammate Joker just about, and then disappointment for Fisi, who was up in second after the first stint. He must have had some issues and ended up in fifth, just ahead of Rug. And then another close finish for 7th, with my teammate Disco Stew just about holding off a Gymnast for some points, ahead of Moon, who must have had some issues as well, and then Matthews D rounding off the top 10. The fast lap went to Pro Racing after he pushed hard on the final stint, so it wasn't quite the home run for me, but it doesn't really matter when I won the race. As for the championship though, Pro Racing still up there at the front with a 16-point gap to Kraggles, and then the second Sauber of Joker in third, 3 points further back. And I have moved up to 4th place actually, which is 3 places up from after the previous race. So these 25 points getting me ahead of Disco Stew, Bigsy and Moon, giving me a good platform to hopefully go and challenge after the guys ahead. It's gonna be quite a task though to catch up to Pro Racing given the pace he's been showing. The Saubers are definitely within touching distance as it stands. And a little look at the constructors as well. No position changes, but Caterham, we've moved very close to Williams now, only 5 points back behind, which is nice to see, but the consistent Saubers at the top there with a 30-point margin. So yeah, that was the Austrian Grand Prix. Don't really know what more to say, it's just been a good day in the cockpit really. So I hope you enjoyed watching the race, even if it wasn't as action-packed as usual. Obviously a kind of different experience for me to be leading the race from the start to finish, but it certainly wasn't without some pressure from behind. So yeah, thank you very much for watching guys, and I will see you for the next race at the British Grand Prix, which will probably be wet again, knowing our luck, but yeah, see you there and goodbye.